Hello and welcome to my Excel Masterclass series. This is the beginner video in this series, and this series and video is designed to do two things. One is to teach you something that you may not know, and two is to check to make sure that you do know what you do know, or that you have all of that information retained of what you have maybe watched in previous videos. So today we are going over the questions that I have here in columns F through L, which regard or are referring to the data set over here on the left-hand side of the screen, which is looking at 5 people who made a certain number of dollars worth of sales, a certain number of sales, and whether or not they got a bonus if they hit $50,000 worth of sales and 10 plus sales. I have the date set here as January 2025. That only comes into play with one question. So with that, we'll go ahead and get right into it. And this first question here is using the sum function, calculate the sum of the sales dollars in column B. So this is obviously referring to cell B6 through B10. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in our sum function, hit tab, and type in cell B6 colon B10. And so this, using that colon, signals to Excel that it is through B6 and B10, not just cell B6 and B10. So we will hit enter and receive our total of $265,000. Using the product function, calculate the product of the number of sales that Jason and Bob made. So this is just asking us to multiply the value in cell C6 to the value in cell C7. So we're going to come over here, type in our product function, and apologies, type in equals product, hit the tab, and we are multiplying cell C6, comma, C7. Just like above, I could have put the colon in between those, but wanted to show that you can individually put numbers in as arguments as well. And we will see that 10 times 9 is in fact 90. So using the average function, calculate the average number of sales made between the 5 of them. So the average number of all of these. So we're going to come over here and type in equals average. And real quick, instead of just typing in the numbers, you can also just select them without using your mouse. I'm going to hit the control button and kind of dash over here a little bit. And so I'm looking at these numbers right here, the average of the number of sales made between the 5 of them. I'm going to hit shift and the down arrow, and it will select up until there's a blank box. So there's no blank boxes between the 5 of them, so it selects all 5 of them. I'm going to hit enter, and we're going to get an average of 9.4 sales made. This next question, using the if function, return a y if Jason got a bonus or an in if not. So what we're going to do, there are a couple ways you could probably go about this, but where my mind went was I'm going to type in my if function, and if I'm going to come over here and select this box that says no because Jason did not get a bonus. And my logical test is if D6 equals no, then I want it to return an in, and then if it is not, I want it to return a y. So I hit my parentheses, I hit enter, and it's going to come up with an error. And so I did this intentionally because we need to have quotes around this no. When you have words in functions and in Excel, you need to signal to Excel that it is in fact a word by putting it within quotes. So I hit this check, and now it will populate correctly with this in. And so we did this correctly because Jason did not receive a bonus, and the question asked us to return an in if he did not. So moving on to the next one. Using the AND function, determine whether Sally and Sarah each had at least 10 sales. So using the AND function, I'm going to type in AND. And so this is referring to these two boxes right here. And so if Sally and Sarah each had at least 10 sales, so we need to put these in separately. So if cell C9 is greater than 10, or greater than or equal to 10, and then if cell C10 is also greater than or equal to 10. And so I hit my closing parenthesis, hit enter, and this is true. And we can verify this because obviously 12 and 10 are both separately greater than or equal to 10, like what it was asking. So using the OR function now, determine if Bob or Craig each had $50,000 worth of sales. So we're going to type in our OR function. Again, since it's separate, we need to enter these as separate arguments. So our first logical argument is going to be if, what was this asking? If Bob and Craig each had $50,000 worth of sales. Okay, so we're looking at Bob and Craig. So if B7 was greater than or equal to $50,000, $50,000. Our next argument is Craig's number of sales here if B8 was greater than or equal to $50,000. So I type my closing parenthesis, I hit enter, and it is true because this was not asking and like above, this was asking or. So only one of them had to be over $50,000 for this to return true. So using the right function, return the last letter of Sally's name. This is not too difficult. You just type in the right function and Sally's name. We're going to come over here and actually select Sally's box, or the box that contains Sally. And since it's asking for just the last letter, not multiple letters, just one letter of Sally's name, we want the one most right character. I'm sure that was not correct grammar, but we hit enter, and because of this, it will return a Y, which is the last letter of Sally's name. Using the left function, return the left three letters of Bob's name. So we type in the left function, and again, we're going to come over here and we're going to click the cell that Bob is in, and we are going to, as in our number of characters argument, put the number 3 in because it's asking for the left three letters. I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to return me Bob. This returns his whole name because Bob is only 3 letters. Using the concat function, concatenate the cells that say bonus criteria and greater than 50,000 and 10 plus sales. So we're going to type in our concat function, and our first text was the text or the cell that says bonus criteria, so that is cell A3, and our other cell, or what the other thing it was asking us to concatenate, was the cell that says 50,000 and 10 plus sales. Now this is a merged cell, so I'm just going to go up here and click this. It still comes up as B3, but just because y'all don't see the line right there, I wanted to come out and say that I did merge these cells. So that's okay, and we're going to hit closing parenthesis, and we are going to see that now, because of this, we concatenated it, and we have the bonus criteria is greater than $50,000 and 10 plus sales, all in this one cell here. So using the round up function, round cell B10 up to 0 digits and see what number is returned. So I'm going to round up cell B10 to 0 digits and see what number is returned. And it returns us 80,001. And you might be thinking, well, in cell B10 it just says 80,000. Well, I intentionally did this for this question. If we click into it, we'll actually see that I put a decimal point and a 1 on the end of it, but I just formatted this so where it doesn't show, just for this question specifically. So if you do this formula correct, we will round up 80,000.1 to $80,001. This is the same thing is going to happen in the next question, spoiler alert, and we're going to type in our round down function because this is asking us to round down the cell B9 to 0 digits and see what number is returned. So we're rounding down cell B9 to 0 digits and see what number is returned, and it's going to give us this 44,999 number because I did the same thing, and this is actually 44,999.9, but I formatted it to show 45,000. And so the reason this goes to 44,999 is because we rounded down this decimal point to 0 digits past the decimal point. It's important to note that with round up and round down, it is in terms of the decimal point. It's not in terms of total number of digits. So if you say I want to round down to 0 digits, it's 0 digits after the decimal point. Or if I wanted to round this down to 1 digit, it would be 1 digit after the decimal point. It does not care at all what is in front of the decimal. Round up and round down only, the point of view is only from the decimal point. So with that, we are going to use the upper function and return Craig's name in all caps. So we type in upper here, hit the tab button, and Craig's name right here in cell A8. And we are just going to hit enter, and it types in Craig in all caps. It yells Craig at us. So now going down here, using the weekday function, return the number 3 using the data in cell D3. So this might be the most advanced. It's not too advanced, but it's probably the most advanced function on here, and I'll explain why in a second. I intentionally phrased the question this way to make it a little more advanced, but for this weekday function, we use the weekday function, and our serial number is just the date. So these data in cell D3 is just this date, this January 1st date, and it wants us to return the number 3. So if I were to just enter this and hit enter, it returns the number 4. And here's why. Because looking at this cell, looking at this formula, we see a serial number and a return type. And any argument here that's in brackets is an optional argument. You don't have to. But in functions like this where it has a return type, where it needs a return type, it just assumes you're doing the first one. So what I mean by that is if I hit the comma and I hit the 1, the first return type, and I hit enter, we're still going to get this number 4 because there's no different than what I just did other than the fact that in the first time when it was just D3 like this, it assumes that 1 was my return type. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to start seeing what return type would yield me a 3. So for example, I'm going to now hit the second return type, this one right here. And I hit this one and I'm going to type in my closing parenthesis and I hit enter. And now there we go. There's the 3 we were looking for just because we changed our return type. So with the weekday function, you can actually tell what day of the week a date fell on by using this function. And so today up here, I have this date of January 1st, 2025. And off the top of my head, I have no idea what day of the week that was. But by using this function, we can actually tell. So I have this D3 selected, which was the cell that contained my January 1st date, and I have the return type as 1 selected. And so it will return me a 1 if it's on Sunday, through 7 on Saturday, which means 1 is Sunday, 2 is Monday, 3 is Tuesday, 4 is Wednesday, 5 is Thursday, 6 is Friday, 7 is Saturday. So based off this, if I hit check, I know that 4 is a Wednesday and know that January 1st fell on a Wednesday. That might not be that useful, but it's kind of cool in my opinion. Now, lastly, make a bar graph and include both name and sales dollars. There's a couple ways to do this, a simple way and a little bit more of a difficult way, and I'm going to go over both. So what we are going to do is it wants the name and the sales dollars here. So I'm going to select this data, go over to our Insert tab, click our bar graph, and then bam, we have a bar graph with the name and the sales dollars. If your data isn't organized like this, I'm going to delete this graph and show you how to do this without selecting this data. So we're going to go over to the Insert tab, click our bar graph again right here, and now it comes up with a blank screen. And don't worry, Excel's not glitching. You just haven't put in any data. You haven't selected any data. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to go and select our X and Y axis data. So for this legend entry series, this is going to be everything that is shown up on the Y axis. And the series name is sales dollars because our dollars is going to be going up on the Y axis. And our series values are just all of the data points that we have. So now I'm going to hit OK, and you're going to see that this graph already kind of starts to populate with stuff. But on the x-axis, we just have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that's not what we want. We want Jason, Bob, Craig, Sally, and Sarah. So we come over here, hit Edit, and now selecting every one that was a part of this, we hit OK, and we hit OK, and now we scroll down, and we see that the exact same thing has been made, but just manually. So now I'm gonna kind of take a little bonus turn, or I'm gonna delete this graph, and I'm gonna show you how to make a line graph doing the same thing. But what we're gonna do is I'm going to change now this to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and to 5, and I'm going to now change this to week, and we're going to pretend now that someone has just made these dollars worth of sales in each respective week. And now we're going to make a line graph. I know it wanted me to make a bar graph. I'm going to do a little bit extra and make a line graph. The same thing can be done. The same technique can be done with the line graph that we did with the bar graph. So we select our data, come over here to our line graph, and click our 2D line chart. And we'll see that in week 1. Actually, this is actually a great pointer or a great learning moment because I actually kind of made a mistake here. And what I did was I put the week and the week numbers and the sales data as separate lines. So we'll see each line as a week of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, which kind of looks weird, and that's not exactly what we wanted. So now this is, again, a great learning point because we have to now input this stuff manually. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and type in or select our blank line graph like I was talking about. I'm going to leave it over here, and we're going to select our data just like we did before in the bar graph. And our legend entry is our number of sales dollars. So our sales series name is just sales with the $sign, and our series values are just all of the data points that come with it. Now, coincidentally, this already populates as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I could have chosen other numbers, but just for sake of doing this, our x-axis labels are these things right here. And I hit OK, and none of these change because, again, coincidentally just happened to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But I think now you see a little bit differently how this graph is supposed to look. As in, this is in purple here, this is in blue, and this is in red. Where before, if you just selected the data, both of these things were in red and all of these things were in blue. And so that just has to deal with what Excel is selecting as data points, what it's selecting as series entries, your x-axis, y-axis, yada, yada, yada. So with that, that marks the end of the Beginner Excel series video, or the Beginner Excel Masterclass video. If you have any questions on any of this or want anything to be explained further or explained in another video, maybe in the intermediate or expert, please leave a comment. This channel is obviously new enough and not big enough to where anyone that has a specific question, I could probably go in and answer myself, just kind of right then and there, or make another video on it. So hopefully it would help out other people as well. But again, if you've stayed this long, I appreciate you watching this video. Be on the lookout for the next one, which would be the intermediate Excel test or the intermediate Excel masterclass video. And obviously an expert one will be coming soon, if not out already. So again, thank you for watching.